Welcome to True Crime 101 with Murder Friends, the podcast where three friends from three different countries talk about murder. My name's Alanna, and I'm Canadian.
I'm Anna, and I'm American.
My name's Hannah, and I'm British.
In addition to our longer episodes, True Crime 101 talks you through key true crime cases and theories. That is always a mouthful, and I don't know why.
I think it's the bit where it says key true crime cases.
You gotta really think about it.
Yeah.
You do, yeah.
So when I was going to do my True Crime 101 research, nothing was really jumping out to me. I don't know. None of them were felt interesting enough that I wanted to research them. So I think I ended up Googling something like weird true crime stories or weird, bizarre crime stories. And I think it was the first one on this one particular list. It includes a family annihilation, a killer child, and a werewolf, and it takes place in Canada. Oh. And I was like, the true crime gods have blessed me on this day, so I thought I have to do it. It is technically called the Richardson Family Murders. Have you guys heard of it?
No.
And by Richards, no, it's Richardson. I can't read my own writing.
Also no.
Still no.
So I got my sources from an article on All That's Interesting and Wikipedia, obviously. If you can donate to Wikipedia, please do, because I use it every week. So this story is actually fairly recent. We're talking April 2006. So the story goes that this young boy in, it's called Medicine Hat. It's like a very small town, I guess you'd call it, in Alberta, Canada. And this young boy runs over to the Richardsons. I don't know why I can't say that. Richardsons. Runs over to the family's house, and he sort of peeks in the window, and he thinks that he sees someone lying on the floor, at which point he's like, hell nah, I'm not dealing with this, and runs back home, tells his mom. Mom's like, hell nah, I'm not dealing with this, calls the police. The police arrive to the residence. Now, there's sort of conflicting information, but from the most obvious stories, it says that the mom and dad, so Mark was 42 and his wife Deborah was 48, they were either found in the basement or the lower level part of the house. They are both stabbed, they think maybe 20 times apiece, it's quite a violent attack on the mother and father. And then the police go upstairs and they find the body of their son Tyler, who was only 8 years old. He's in his bedroom. He is also deceased. So at this point, the Richardson family was that perfect nuclear family. You got your two parents, you got a son and a daughter. The daughter is not in the house, and she is 12-year-old Jasmine. So police, quite rightly at the time, think, holy crap, she's not here. We don't know where she is. She's 12. She can't get many places on her own. So they fear that whoever has done this attack has done it to take her. Almost, kind of like the Jamie Kloss story where the family is killed just so the perpetrator can take the daughter with him. However, after only the next day, they find Jasmine in Saskatchewan, which is about 130 kilometers away, and she is with her boyfriend. And you think, okay.
I'm sorry, she's 12? Boyfriend?
I don't remember having a boyfriend at 12. I don't know if this is a new thing in 2006. So she's found 130 kilometers away with her boyfriend. Yes, that's true. Her boyfriend is 23-year-old Jeremy Stenik. Can't pronounce that, sorry.
Her boyfriend is a pedophile.
Ew.
Yeah. So right away you're thinking, okay, she's 12, he's 23, her whole family has been murdered. So the first conclusion that the police get to is that he has done this and he's taken her away and what have you. But at this point, they really aren't sure. It's only been 24 hours. So they actually charge both of them with the 3 murders. And they actually then later charged Jeremy's friend Casey, who was 19. She's charged with being an accessory for driving them away in her truck and helping dispose of some evidence. Now, they're not really sure what the motive is, but, 2006, they go on both Jeremy and Jasmine's computers, and they are starting to find evidence that is not lining up with what they originally thought had happened. So apparently, to no surprise, her parents did not approve of their relationship.
Shocker.
Who knew?
I know.
So the parents at some point had said, like, A, you can't be dating him, and then you can't even see him. So they sort of, like, barred her from even visiting him and stuff. And at 12, she was very upset. At 23, he was very upset. And apparently their friends also criticized their relationship, that it was weird and, like, don't do this. Shortly after her arrest, Jeremy asked Jasmine to marry him, and she agreed because she's 12 and she's an idiot. Now, the story then doesn't stop there, because according to friends of Jeremy, he told them he was a 300-year-old werewolf.
Seems legit, though.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
Right, so he's even older, even more older than her. So it just gets worse.
What's that rule? Which is, do you know when you've got an older boyfriend, and isn't it like half your age plus 7?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously doesn't apply here because she's 12. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I think that's 300's a bit much.
It's
Yeah.
quite an age gap.
A little bit.
So he allegedly told his friends that he liked the taste of blood, and he wore a small vial of blood around his neck. He was also a user, like he had an account on vampirefreaks.com, which 100% was a real website. I'm a little confused because he says he's a werewolf, but he has an account on Vampire Freaks, so I'm not really sure the correlation between those.
Can you
two
cross over?
properties.
Like, what are the rules? Like, can you
I
do
thought
both?
they were
Can you
enemies.
dabble? Are they friends? Are they enemies?
I thought they were enemies.
I mean,
because I watch movies.
Yeah,
like,
Underworld.
come on.
What is that about?
Oh my god. So while searching for evidence and still looking for a concrete motive, the police come across multiple online accounts that belong to both Jasmine and Jeremy. Like I said, it was very easy to assume that Jeremy, being the older one in the relationship, was the one who came up with their plan, but their online accounts told a different story. Amongst the most telling were 2 messages. The first message was sent from Jasmine to Jeremy, and she says, "I have this plan. It begins with me killing them and ends with me living with you." Yuck, gross. Girl, you're 12. Go outside and ride your bike. Now, the second message was posted on Windows Live Spaces. I don't know if you guys remember Windows Live Spaces.
Yeah.
I think it was trying to be like MySpace, but never really took off.
Yeah, I mean, the internet was pretty dark in 2006,
Yeah.
to be honest with you.
You could either go to a Windows Live Space or vampirefreaks.com. Those were the only 2 websites.
That's pretty much it.
So he had posted on his account publicly, quote, "Payment. My lover's rents are totally unfair. They say that they really care. They don't know what is going on. They just assume. As their greed continues to consume, she is slowly going insane. She continues to think that I came into her life to help her out and to stop what they keep trying to shout. It's all total bullshit. Their throats I want to slit. They will regret the shit they have done, especially when I see to it that they are gone. They shall pay for their insolence. Finally, there shall be silence. Their blood shall be payment." And if you can only imagine the amount of typos in that paragraph, I cannot even begin to tell you. So under the Youth Criminal Justice Act, Jasmine could no longer be named or published in Canada after she became a suspect, because as 12, that is the youngest possible age a person can be charged with a crime in Canada. So convicts who were under 14 years at the time they committed the crime cannot be sentenced as adults. So the maximum amount of sentence you can get is a 10-year sentence. So between like 12 and 14 is that sort of like kid range with the 10-year sentence. If you were more than 14, then you can be tried as an adult. So fast forward to the following year, July 2007, Jasmine, who had then turned 13, was found guilty of 3 counts of first-degree murder in the killings of both of her parents and her brother. She is believed to be the youngest person ever convicted of a multiple murder in Canada. So later that year, she was sentenced, like I said, the maximum penalty, which is 10 years. She also got some credit for 18 months already spent in custody, to be followed by a fair amount of years in a psychiatric institution, and then a couple more years under supervision in the community. Afterwards, Jasmine underwent extensive rehabilitation and treatment after she was sentenced. Psychiatric assessments revealed she was diagnosed with a conduct disorder and oppositional defiant disorder. But she was a kid at sentencing, so she can only get 10 years maximum. In September 2011, Jasmine started attending classes at a local university in Calgary. She was then released from the psychiatric hospital in the fall of 2011. In 2012, it was reported her rehabilitation was going well, and she expressed remorse for her actions that experts considered genuine. Not everybody believes that her remorse was genuine, but the actual official reports say that they believe that the rehabilitation was quote unquote working. In May 2016, at 22 years old, Jasmine's sentence was complete and she was free of any further court order conditions, restrictions, or supervisions after a final sentence review. She currently lives somewhere under a new name. Who knows where? People think it's still in Canada, but nobody is for certain.
Is it you?
It's not me, I promise.
Is this like a big reveal?
The ages, to be honest, like the ages actually kind of, they almost line up. Not quite though, but it's not me, I promise.
I just wanted to check, thanks.
Yeah.
Feel safe now.
Good to know.
Jeremy admitted to the murder of Jasmine's parents when he was in conversation with an undercover police officer while in custody, because we all know he is not thinking clearly. He was tried in 2008 and he was absolutely found guilty. Now, he was sentenced to 3 life sentences, 1 for each first-degree murder count. Obviously, because he's an adult, he can get tried as an adult. And he will be eligible for parole after serving 25 years, which is, I think, how they always do it in Canada. Like, if you get a life sentence, you always get option for parole after 25 years. And then that Casey girl, she was accessory to murder charge, but she pleaded guilty to a lesser charge. She basically, like, received house arrest, and she basically got on with it. So that is the strange and awful story of the Richardson family murders. And when I was reading it, it made me think a lot of way back when I did that true crime about the Greyhound bus killer and how he like had a mental break. He killed someone in like a really horrific fashion, but he was quote unquote rehabilitated and then released without any like check-ins, just like Jasmine has been fully released, new name, new identity, new location. Is that okay?
Oh, it's really tough.
Because like when I was reading some of the details, they believe that the boyfriend Jeremy was the one that went in and killed the parents. Because obviously, like, I would like to think that a parent could take on a 12-year-old daughter, and he's quite a bit bigger than her. But then there was other reports that it was Jasmine who killed her brother. And like, to be a 12-year-old girl and kill your 8-year-old brother just feels like really, really upsetting.
Yeah, somebody you know and love, like your brother, for goodness, like you.
Yeah, when I look at 8-year-olds, I think, oh my God, you look like a baby.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty horrific. I mean, there has to be something. Well, obviously she has some sort of disorders, but how do you rehabilitate? I don't know. It's pretty. Well, I guess with the professionals, I guess I know, but it just seems like she gets to just go on now, and she lives under a new name, and you know, she doesn't have to tell anyone that was ever her, and she can just go on with the rest of her life.
I think like with the professional thing, it's like obviously they've made the most educated opinion, but the thing that about this one and the thing about the Greyhound one was the fact that there are no check-ins.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, your initial assessment could be correct in that they are okay to be sort of integrated back into society because they're not like shunted straight out the door. There is support, I assume.
Yeah, there'd be years of like, first you do this and then you do that.
But then for there to be no check-in whatsoever, I find that very strange.
It just seems like you're leaving a lot to
chance.
Or like if like especially the Greyhound one, I would assume he needs some serious medication, probably for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
You'd think, like, what if he just stops taking it one day? Like, what if he does that again? Like, I don't know. How do you ever make sure you know someone's not going to stop taking their medication? I know it's probably both of the cases sound like mental illness, which is unfortunate. But how do you? I mean, and is it part of a human right that you don't have to be monitored for the rest of your life? Like, where's the...
Yeah, I think that's where it gets into territory of like whether it's a human right to live your life or protection of a society.
Exactly.
And that's a real debate.
Yeah, seriously. Probably not going to solve that tonight.
I reckon we'll give it a bash.
Oh yeah, we could do it. Just give us a couple hours.
Give me a gin
Yeah, it'd be fine.
and I'll crack on.
I think what shocks me too is obviously she's 12. And I think of like when I was 12 and I was, I don't know, playing my Nintendo 64 and riding my bike and like having sleepovers and watching the Spice Girls movie and like it's hard to imagine getting to that headspace because of course like you go through periods of where you hate your parents and like, oh my god, they're awful, they won't let me dye my hair pink and the world sucks and all that stuff. But going from like that headspace to I think we should like just kill my family because they're not letting me do what I want to do.
Yeah, I think when you're 12 in the UK, you're in like years 7 and 8. And I think it's my year 8 like school photo. I've got like flower hair clips in.
Yeah.
And like little tiny like sunflower hair clips on my on my 2 little pigtails. And that's you go through like that preteen kind of angst, but yeah, you're right. How do you go from that to I want a 20-something-year-old whatever boyfriend, and also I want to stab my parents and my brother to death?
Yeah.
That's a swing, isn't it?
There was a big section of some of the articles about how they think that they met each other at some sort of rock concert, which, wow, I was not allowed to go to a rock concert at 12, but to each his own. And then they were talking about how prior to meeting him, she was just like a regular sort of bubbly 12-year-old, like cutesy friendly. And then she turned quote unquote goth.
How dare you?
He was like, if you can imagine we'll post pictures and I'll show you pictures of him. If you can imagine what he looks like, early mid 2000s eyeliner. He's wearing a vial of blood. He thinks he's a werewolf. He's dressed in like Hot Topic. And so she then becomes sort of that character because he's that character, right? She's 12. Like, she's going to do, like, what he does and they can, like, fit in better together and stuff. But I thought it was so funny that they really go on the going goth as, like, the turning point in her personality.
Not the 23-year-old man that was grooming her. It was definitely wearing black lipstick.
We haven't discussed him. We haven't discussed him being a 300-year-old werewolf.
No, and while I was reading this, I thought, how do you come to that conclusion? Like, what is the evidence when you go, oh shit, I think I might be a 300-year werewolf?
I mean, sometimes I think that I'm an 84-year-old woman because I like drinking tea, sitting down and knitting. But, like, I've never really gone for, over a century.
No.
Age.
But also, okay, so I have other questions, right? What are these parents doing? I'm not trying to victim blame here at all, but like, first of all, I was gonna say, oh my god, I'm never gonna let my daughter go on the internet ever, because like thinking that they met online, and then you're like, well, they met at a rock concert. What is your 12-year-old doing chatting to 23-year-old guys at a rock concert? Like, where were you? Or was she supposed to, did she like lie and she was supposed to be somewhere else and went there with her friends? I don't know, you just feel like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I want to know how she got there.
It says rock concert. That could be fairly broad.
It could have been like
depending
Pink
on
or
what
something.
the writer thinks is rock.
Avril Lavigne.
I know, yeah. Oh, yeah, there
Hey.
you go.
I saw Avril Lavigne when it was the real Avril and she hadn't been replaced by a clone.
Were you
Bitch, same.
12?
I saw her in the Hammersmith Apollo.
But how old were you?
I was like 13.
Yeah, you were age appropriate.
When I saw Avril Lavigne, I was like 18 because one of my friends was like obsessed with her, is still obsessed with her, and I went for like moral support, and it was possibly the worst concert I've ever been to in my entire
Oh
life.
no.
No offense.
That would have been the clone though, wouldn't it? Or maybe
yeah,
not.
Yeah.
like older. When was 2000? So that was like 2005, 2004 maybe, 2005. I don't know how old I am. I'm 84. 1932.
So, would you consider Avril Lavigne a national treasure, Alanna?
My relationship with Avril Lavigne is very strained. She was my second concert. My first concert, I think I might have been 12 or 13. And my sister took me and a bunch of my girlfriends because we couldn't go by ourselves. My sister's like 8 years older. So she had to take me and my girlfriends. We saw Hilary Duff.
Yes.
I thought you were cool. I really thought you were much cooler than this.
At her like stadium tour, it would have been like her first album, and we all dressed up like what we thought was really cool, and we had like glow sticks and stuff. And then the following year was Avril Lavigne, and I don't really remember much of that because it was like, oh, everybody here is so much older than me. But that would have been like 13, 14, and I still couldn't go by myself. My sister had to take me.
So you're not really doing anything to make us not believe that you're actually Jasmine. You were at
Is that when you
concerts
turned goth?
around that time.
That's true. That is true. I didn't think this one through.
No. That was really disturbing / interesting. Thank you.
That was brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah. I felt bad because it seems like a lot of the ones I do are quite disturbing and upsetting. But when I saw Werewolf and it was a Canadian story,
you had to.
I said I have to. I'm sorry. It has to be. So that is the horrible and strange story of the Richardson Family Murders in Alberta, Canada.
That's all we have for today. Please check out our website, murderfriends.com. You can email us at murderfriendspod@gmail.com. Do you have any ideas for a True Crime 101? What do you want to know about? You can follow us on Instagram, murderfriendspod, and Twitter, murderfriendspd. We'll see you next time. Bye!